And hello, welcome to the basement. I am your host, Lex Rhodes, and I'm here today with Claire Roche. Claire, do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself, a few instruments you play, your style, and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, I'm Claire Roche. I'm a Brooklyn-based musician. I do kind of most of my stuff is solo acoustic stuff. A lot of I like to call it somewhere between like dreamy bedroom pop and like DIY folk punk. Um, and yeah, I also play drums in the feminist punk band Cheerleader.
When did you first come out for your transition?
It's been kind of a long process, and it kind of depends what you're counting as coming out and transitioning. I figured out in college that I was some kind of not cis. I did it as non-binary for a while in college. I figured out, at least at the time, that trans woman felt like a better label for me a little bit later on, in like 2018-ish. And since then, I've been kind of realizing that it's somewhere in between. I definitely identify with the label of woman on some level, but I also consider myself non-binary. So it's definitely just been a long process.
I appreciate that. I know I personally haven't seen you since high school. I know we haven't talked in a while.
Yeah.
So when we ended up reconnecting on Instagram and Facebook a little bit, I can even say you seem so much more outgoing, so much more comfortable than even when I knew you back in high school. Do you want to talk a little bit how like your music, how like that's been affecting like with your music and everything, how maybe you view some of those experiences as inspiration?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always a little bit hesitant to reconnect with people who like knew me pre-transition, and like I don't know, it's exciting getting to kind of get to know people over again and sort of stuff like that. And yeah, I guess I mean, I have been a musician since like before middle school, but it's definitely been kind of an evolution of um, like once I started figuring out some more stuff about my gender, I started getting like a little less comfortable singing like the way that my voice sounded before, and a little less comfortable really like kind of just presenting myself as a public figure in any way. And it's definitely taken a lot of work and time to get to the point of getting more comfortable again and kind of figuring out how I relate to different things like that, like how I um, just kind of how to sing differently, how to exist in the world differently. Um, and that's definitely been a big part of my music. I've talked a ton about my transition, the way other people have responded to it, just like all sorts of different aspects of it in my music.
And how have people reacted? I know you mentioned a little bit how almost like for example like we're reconnecting. Have there been people you've been hesitant to reach out to people?
The first big thing was coming out to my parents, who I kind of had a feeling that they wouldn't handle it super well, but they handled it even worse than I really expected. I ended up being kicked out of my house when I came out to them, or not so much kicked out, more they made it clear I wasn't welcome there anymore unless I chose not to transition and chose to just continue existing as their son. Um, and yeah, I mean, it's definitely been hard with that. It just kind of meant I had to go off and kind of unexpectedly have to figure out how to exist on my own and like not have their support the way that I had been used to being able to depend on them, like if things went bad. Um, But it's definitely been kind of mixed in some pretty good ways. There's definitely been situations where um, people I didn't expect to handle it well have been really cool about it. Plenty of friends who I know in the past had been not the most accepting of trans people or queer people, but ended up being super cool about it and like really excited to see me be able to get more comfortable with myself.
I'm so sorry to hear that about with your parents and everything. No one ever deserves to go through anything like that, and it sucks that people who should know you the best almost don't even know you at all. And I feel like that also relates just to mental health in general. Huge part of overcoming like anxiety or depression. If you ever had experience with either of those, if you want to touch on that.
I mean, I would say it had been getting there beforehand, but definitely in the time since getting kicked out and everything, like kind of being outside of that environment and it being pretty toxic even before I came out, it was definitely like there was some improvement in my mental health moving out, but also it's been a really big struggle since then. So that has definitely, it's kind of been a shift of like the source of the depression. Less of, working through it or having less depression and more just shifting it. But I've definitely over the years since had pretty good chances to work through it over time. Actually, just got back on the antidepressants I had been on until I lost my insurance a couple days ago. So that's definitely a good other step to get towards working through it. And I'm sure it's going to be a lifelong process, like trying to work through everything and trying to get better. But I've made a lot of progress and I'm excited to make even more.
You're completely right about that. It's never gonna just end because you're right. It is a lifelong process. We're always constantly changing, not only as people, but like also our music as well. Going back to like the medication, and everything. How did it affect you? Like how did the process of going on? Did you feel how long did it take for you to feel almost fully integrated on the meds? Did you notice a change right away?
Yeah. Yeah, I had started on them a little bit before things kind of came to a head with my parents. Um, it had been getting really bad just being around them, and like I started going to therapy and I got on antidepressants, and they didn't like miraculously solve every problem or anything like that, but like they definitely made a big difference. It had, for me, it was, my depression has been big on lack of motivation to really do anything and just overall never really being in a good mood or feeling good. And those two things are definitely the biggest things that it helped out with. Like, I still sometimes struggled to get stuff done and I like didn't feel great a lot of the time still, but it was so much better and I was able to get myself to do the things that I needed to do and enjoy life at least when I could.
And I know this is a rough time for a lot of people our age because we're all losing our insurance,
Yeah.
going through different going through all this fun stuff right now. Um, how have you been affected by COVID, especially with like your music career and everything? How's that been going?
Honestly, I mean, I've definitely been doing a couple live stream performances and a couple of, interviews and recordings and stuff like this. Honestly, like it's been on hold a little bit. It's not like I'm not. It's not like I've just abandoned it for all of COVID or anything, but like I've definitely kind of made an effort to kind of put work into other places that felt like I was going to be able to make more progress while this is going on with the intention to just get started more seriously again once COVID's done and once it's like safe to go back to performing again. I was realizing I was definitely getting pretty burned out with making music and like really focusing and just kind of not really feeling like I'm getting much out of it or really doing much with it. And I was just tired of constantly playing live streams that, you know, 4 or 5 people would listen to, and wanted to put my energy into something else. And I'm excited to be able to balance both of them once it's safer to do so. But for now, I'm really enjoying taking the time to do that.
Let's think. I'm actually just curious, like high school. Like I'm just imagining, like you used to play like an XLT band and everything. Like thinking back on that, how do you feel like like playing Christian Catholic music? Do you still feel accepted? Like, are you religious at all in any type of sense, or do you kind of?
Uh, I'm just a plain old atheist.
All right. Yep. Sounds like a lot of people don't want to go for now.
Yeah, really. um, I kind of figured out in college, not long after leaving high school, that I just didn't really believe in God or any kind of religion anymore. Um, Actually, I have one of the songs that's going to be playing is talking about kind of comparing like confirmation with um, like transition, kind of the whole like um, it's not necessarily the case for everyone, but for a lot of people, I've heard people share the experience of like having confirmation just be kind of okay, you've been taught this thing your whole life. You've never really been given any other kind of option, especially for a lot of other like Catholic school kids. Um, like, and then they have this sacrament that's supposed to be all about like, okay, is this really right for you? Like you're making this decision. But really it's just a thing that like you're expected to do regardless of whether like you've put the time into trying to figure it out. Um
Yeah,
and
because
I
I
kind of
remember back when people were getting confirmation, like either hardly anyone took it seriously. They were just doing it to do it.
oh
And
yeah.
yeah,
Um and just the song is comparing that to um thinking about like lots of trans people have shared the experience, definitely me too, of kind of being told as you're growing up, like, yeah, this is your gender, and not really being given any other kind of options or anything, not like being able to think about whether that's actually true, and then taking the time to go, okay, is this? And actually thinking about it and realizing it's not the case.
that is a great analogy. But how this what is your what is your songwriting process like? Like where do you come up with these ideas? Like these are like you seem to like have funny songs, you seem to have deep songs, you like all these songs that people can connect to, but you still seem to find a sense of humor. Like, does it just come to you?
Um, I mean, a lot of it, especially more serious songs, which Confirmation kind of is, like a lot of it just kind of comes through like just figuring myself out more and putting thought into my experiences. Um, a lot of my songs are really introspective and really focused on like my experiences and the things I figured out about myself. And that one was definitely just kind of like, especially since like I have a lot of like other people in my life who are queer people who were raised Catholic. Um, and just figuring out like thinking about my experiences of transition and of figuring out that I was trans, and then also thinking about like confirmation as a sacrament, um, and just kind of connecting the pieces on that. Um, but yeah, I would say most of my songs come from stuff like that. Just thinking about my experiences and thinking about like interesting ways to talk about them, or just things that feel worth singing about. And I've definitely got other stuff that's just kind of jokes that I make to my friends and stuff like that. And I end up deciding to turn them into songs. Like that was definitely what happened with astrology. I think I have a lot of trouble with figuring out exactly what I want to say, like on the fly. Um, I am so much more expressive and so much better at saying the things I want to say if I have the time to think about it, whether it's songwriting or like writing things down. Um, it's just, it comes so much more naturally to me to take the time to think about what I'm saying and organize it rather than just like go right into saying it.
So going through transitioning, building your music career, and all doing all this, what did you say? And like going through depression, anxiety, all that. What was the biggest thing that helped you get through it all? What was the most important thing for you?
Honestly, support of people who care about me, and like a lot of it is like we all help each other out, like finding other people who like are able to be there for me and who trust me to be there for them.
Yeah, no, I get that because I feel like for me, I was always like, I need to just have as many people around me as possible without thinking who's actually there. I also want to give this platform. Is there anything you want to share? Anything you want to promote?
Yeah, I don't really have anything currently coming up with my music or anything, but my leather shop is at Violet Leather Co. That's like where it is on every social media it's on, and on Etsy. Um, Other than that, not too much.
Oh, I really just love catching up with you and hearing more about these stories. Like, oh my God, it really has been crazy. I'm so sorry that you've gone through what you've had to go through. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, thank you so much.
Sink me down beneath the water, fish me out, and give me a name. No need to ask me who I am. My whole life preordained, my body draped in what you see fit. 12 years later, give me a choice. Do I confirm what you made me? Do I step into the world you've hid from me? Do I allow you to control everything I am and all I'll ever be? Sink me in the world that you've made. Dress me up, teach me one child's life, tailor-made for you. Boys and girls, us and them, only the best good Christian children. Who could ask for anything more? Do I confirm what you've made me? Do I step into the world you've hid from me? Do I allow you to control everything I am and all I'll ever be? saw a cross upon my forehead. Send me out into the world. Pay no mind as it falls apart. A new life, a new name. Here's to unlearn the shit that I knew. On my own, baptized anew.
Thank you so much again for watching episode 3 of The Basement, and thank you so much to Claire for joining us. It was such a pleasure, and we hope you enjoyed it too. If you would like to support Claire's music, please follow her at Claire Roche Band on Instagram. If you would like to support her leatherwork shop, please follow that as well at Violet Leather Co. also on Instagram. Both those links will be down in the description of the video. Thank you so much for continuing to support The Basement. Please like the video, say hi in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. We have 3 more episodes for you guys every Friday from here on out. We're so excited. I'm your host, Lex Rhodes. We'll see you next time on The Basement.